Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. A few months ago, I made a video about these two real estate agent landlord people called Two Guys Take On Real Estate. And I thought it was quite fun in, the way fun means on this channel. And I realized that I hadn't talked about them or landlords in general for a while, so I thought that today we would check in on how they are doing. But I did go through their TikTok for a while, and they unfortunately have changed their content. They before made a lot of skits that were so funny. Like, they're so bad, obviously, but so funny. And they don't really do those anymore. They're much more like talking based and like informative and just boring. So I went through and found some that I thought would be good to talk about. And then I kind of ventured off and just looked at landlords in general. So today I've got a bit of a mixed bag of checking in on them, as well as just some new terrible people to look at who are ruining our economy and the housing market. So that's what we're doing today. But before we get into it, I'd like to say a massive thank you to today's patron of the day, Artie. I appreciate you and your support so much, so thank you so much for joining. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if anyone else would like to become a patron, go to patreon.com/savvycat. I appreciate it greatly. Let's get into the nightmare. Oh, actually, before we do get into it, I want to make a video where I talk about your nightmare landlord sort of stories. I want to know what sort of situations you have all been in. So if you have any stories that you want to share and want me to react to and talk about your living situations with landlords and things like that, then please do email me at dearkiwi@gmail.com. Kiwi is spelled with a Q, and I will hopefully be doing that for a video sometime soon. So send me your stories. It'll be a fun time.
Hey landlord, I've got my eye on you.
Well, hey, I can't blame you. I am a little TikTok famous.
You and all your landlord friends are inflating the housing market. You need to stop buying all the houses and save some for the rest of us.
Oh, would you be interested in buying this property?
Well, yeah.
Cool. Can you get pre-approved real quick?
I don't have the best credit.
Houses take constant repair and attention. You good with that?
I've got my own toolkit.
Wow. Since this is a multifamily house, you're going to be responsible for dealing with tenant issues and collecting rent.
Hey, I'm going to be a landlord?
And the caption on this video is that most landlords own multifamily properties which most people won't financially qualify for or are not qualified to own and run. Now, some people are qualified and are ready to own multifamily property and house hack it. And that's a fantastic thing, and we highly recommend it to anyone who can consider it. What do you think? Right? So this is just like so much of a setup and so misleading, because they're saying, one, that landlords only buy multifamily homes, which is just the most blatant lie ever. Because when you look at most like apartment complexes, they're all owned by fucking landlords. And a lot of the time in one apartment complex, like 10 of the fucking flats are owned by the same person. Saying that they only own family homes is so untrue. Family homes, I think, are the ones that are more likely to be owned by the people living in them. It's apartments that are being taken advantage of. A lot of young people who are being taken advantage of the most, And like being like, oh, so would you like to buy this property on your own? Well, then you're gonna have to be ready for maintenance and renting it out. Like, no. People might, I'm not looking to buy a multifamily home right now. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what a lot of us are doing. But even still, I think that you should be able to buy a multifamily home. I just think that should be possible, even when you're young. Back in the day, you could buy a multifamily home based on one income. And I think it should still be like that. If we're being completely honest, I think that we should still be able to afford a home while having money left over to enjoy life. Ideally, you should be able to buy a home on one income with 2 bedrooms, right? Ideally, that would be what you could do. On two incomes, you should be able to buy a 3 to 4 bedroom house. That should be something that is doable. You shouldn't have to rent out parts of your house in order to afford buying the house. And a lot of people my age, we aren't looking at buying multifamily homes to live in by ourselves. That's not something that we're doing. And don't fucking come in here and lie to me about how most landlords only buy family homes when you have videos like this.
All right, Jeff, show us what we got here.
Hold your breath.
Wow.
There's a cat in there too.
Aw.
Still alive.
This is bad. Wow.
Yeah, there's a little bit of
Ah. Someone was sleeping here. Are all the spiders still up in the ceiling? Yep. Ah. I don't know what that was. I think that was pee. Ah. I don't want to know what it was. Ugh. Hold on. I do want to know now. That's definitely not Gatorade.
So this is them going and checking out one of the properties that they own that has been left in an absolute mess. And I find it just really funny because this is a 1-bedroom apartment. It's really small. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and then like an open living area and kitchen. And it is very small. But landlords only own big family houses though. That's typically what they buy. That's what they're interested in. You know, we can still buy our own like flats and small places to live, obviously. That's not being rented out. They're not owned by landlords. It's so ridiculous. Like, I think, honestly, flats and apartments being rented out makes more sense to me. And I think that's just because they're in one big building. So it makes sense that you like pay someone to live there. I don't know why that makes sense to me. But I think a lot of us don't dream of owning a flat. We dream of owning a house. But that is also because I come from a place where apartments aren't really a thing. It's just all houses. Like there aren't any flats. When I think about owning something, I think about owning a house. That's not to say that I think like all flats and apartments and things being managed by landlords is a good thing. It just makes somewhat more sense to me. So it makes the like whole landlords only buy family home things even worse. But regardless, I think that like, you know, if you don't want people leaving your properties a mess, don't buy them and don't rent them out. Just let people live in their own spaces. Get a real job and make your own money instead of exploiting people and making them pay you for just living. I think that that is the best solution. You don't want to clean up after people. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to clean up after people. Stop buying a bunch of properties and you don't have to deal with people living in ways that you don't like. So
We need to talk about rent control. In our home state of Massachusetts, it was actually outlawed in 1994. Fast forward to 2023, we have inflating costs of everything, including housing, and the conversation about rent control is heating up again. First, we need to clarify what rent control is. It's a law that mandates the maximum of what a property owner can charge for renting their home. While some believe that rent control will make it easier for tenants to afford the cost of living, others quickly point out that the inflation crisis will cause owners to be unwilling or unable to improve or maintain their current properties. So what's your take on this? Let us know in the comments, and of course, be sure to follow Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
boo freaking who. I'm sorry if it costs more for you to maintain your properties. You know what a good solution for that is? Stop buying properties. And then you don't have to pay to maintain them anymore. It's obviously still worth it because you keep doing it. So you're still buying more properties because regardless of how much you're spending on maintenance, you're still earning more money. And you're still earning that passively off of the people that live in those properties. If you don't want this responsibility, if you don't want to have to look after these houses, stop buying them. Let people buy their own houses and let them take on that responsibility. Like, inflation is very real and is very real in the housing market, but the inflation in the housing market is very largely attributed by people like you buying all of them and then like upping how much you would like to charge for rent. And then when people start putting it up in one area, then all the other landlords in the area are like, oh, this is worth more. I'm going to also put my rent up. And it keeps going up and up and up because you're freaking greedy. You're greedy. Everyone is fucking greedy. That's the problem here. And there is inflation everywhere and it is a problem and it is all caused by greed. So, simple solution, stop buying property and let other people live in homes that they own. Sorted. I fixed it for you.
Have you ever heard of a tenant who drives a Lamborghini?
Yup, this is way more common than you ever imagined, especially in states like Massachusetts, New York, and California. Here's an example of one from just last week. I went to one of my apartments. There's a tenant there that owes $9,000 on their 2-bedroom apartment that includes all of their utilities except electricity. And as I'm walking around the property, what do you think I see on the common area rear porches? That's right, their old flat panel TV just tossed out back, and right next to it, the box for a brand new 85-inch TV. Why do they do this? Because there's really almost no consequence to simply not paying rent. They pay for their wants instead of their needs. So who picks up the tab in $9,000 of unpaid rent? You do, the taxpayers. Their balance is probably going to get cleared up through a rental assistance program designed to help Americans that are truly struggling. And now guess what? 6 of their neighbors are starting to do the exact same thing. And if you want to hear more about the reality of real estate, make sure you follow Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
I know I made fun of them at the beginning, but the way they say Two Guys Take on Real Estate is so funny because it's kind of like implying that real estate is the app. Follow Two Guys Take on Real Estate. Like, this is TikTok, bro. It's follow Two Guys Take on Real Estate on TikTok. Anyway, that's so irrelevant, but it makes me giggle every time. You said it yourself why this happens. Because people pay for their wants, not their needs. I think it's ridiculous that we have to spend all of our money on our needs. Paying for my needs is the worst thing ever. All of your income going on what you need freaking sucks. It's so shit not being able to afford anything that you want. Because we should be working to pay for things that we want. It shouldn't cost all that we earn just to buy things we need. I think in total, like 75% of my income goes on rent, bills, and food. Like that's like 70%, that's like 75% of my income. Like most of it goes into the fucking cost of living. And it shouldn't have to be. These people, they're allowed to want things. And like, I'm sorry that fucks you over, but I promise that they are hurting more by not being able to ever get anything that they want. It's a fucked up system. We shouldn't have to be working so much just to be able to live. I'm sorry, not sorry. But like, that is how it's gonna be. And I think that people are completely justified and valid in just wanting to buy things that they want, you know? I hate buying things that I need, right? So like whenever like my mom asks me what I want for Christmas or for my birthday or whatever, I'm gonna ask her for things that I need, not things that I actually want, because then it means that I don't have to spend money on the things that I need. I can use my own money on what I want. So like I asked for a duvet for Christmas because I need a new duvet. So that's what I'm getting for Christmas. I got it early. I opened it early. But like, so for Christmas for my mom, I got a nice duvet because I needed that. But I wasn't going to spend my own money on that, or I didn't want to spend my own money on that because like it's something that I need and I'd rather spend my money on stuff that I want, right? Spending money on what you need sucks. No one wants to fucking do it. And I know no one wants to do it, and I know we all have to do it, but like, I'm sorry that you got fucked over, but not really. Because you're a landlord. I don't care.
This is how much rent I collect every single month on my 271 rental properties. 2 quick things. This is gross rent collected, not net income. And also I bought all this without using any of my own money. There's the rental income column of my rental portfolio tracker. As I scroll down, these are all rents I'm collecting on houses every single month. We'll get down to some apartment complexes here momentarily, and then we'll see the total of $271,000 a month.
That's ridiculous. You do not need to own 271 properties. There is no reason in the world that you would need to own 271 properties. It is beyond me that people are even allowed to own 271 properties. It's so exploitative and it's so frustrating and so upsetting that there are these people who own everything. Well, some of us are never gonna fucking own anything. I know that one day I will be able to own a home because I am in a position where my mother can help me with that, and she is willing to do that because my mother is a landlord. So she owns some investment properties, and she has said that one day she will sell one and help me and my sister buy our first homes. And as much as I hate landlords, I am going to benefit from that, right? So I'm lucky in that position too. I know one day that is something that I will be able to achieve, but that is because of generational wealth, right? That is something that I am able to do because that is something that my mother is able to do, you know? We own 2 houses of our own, and then my mom has some investment properties. So I am able to benefit from a system that I don't like. And I acknowledge that, and I'm very lucky, and I'm very grateful for that. But 271, man, that's fucking ridiculous, you know? And like a lot of people use the excuse of like, well, if I don't do it, someone else will. That's what my mom always says. She's like, but I'm a good landlord. So like, if I didn't own these homes, someone else would, and they wouldn't take good care of their tenants. And like, I understand that more for people like my mom who only own like a couple of houses and they're doing it for retirement reasons or whatever. Like, I still don't think it's great. I'm not a fan of landlords regardless. But it is much better than people like this who own 271 properties. Just explicitly, like, just to take advantage of people, just to raise their rent, to make their sole income off of this. Like, they have no other job. Like, their job is just taking money off of people who live in houses that they were lucky enough to buy. And there's no reason for it. There's no reason for it at all. Like, these people are never going to be able to buy their own homes because they have to spend their whole life paying someone else and paying for their lifestyle because they got in there and decided that they were going to do that and take advantage of people. It's fucked up. This next TikTok got copyright claimed, so you're just going to be looking at a screenshot of a man being interviewed with me saying what he said. Enjoy. I've owned over 2,000 pieces of real estate in my life. I've got several hundred millions of dollars worth of real estate today. One thing I know for sure is if you tell me the renters are going to pay you the payments for you, that tells me you've never managed a rental property. That tells me you've never done it. That's 100%. You're a novice at best, an idiot at worst. And I mean, that's the truth. Because anybody who's ever had a renter or been a renter, and I've been both, I've been a renter too, knows that sometimes renters don't pay. Sometimes there's cancer. Sometimes there's car wrecks and job loss. Sometimes there's a pandemic. Sometimes ... It's, you know, as if there's a perfect stream of every month. The rent is going to come on time or early. And you can pay your stupid little payment, and that's the most ridiculous assumption, which indicates a lack of experience or knowledge of how rental property really works. This is so funny because he's like, well, sometimes I don't get money because people get cancer and they get into car crashes. And I meant to feel bad for you. And I meant to feel bad for you. You're like, these people piss me off because they got really sick and they can't pay me my money. So like my life is really hard. You own 2,000 properties and a couple of them can't pay you 1 month, so suddenly your life is in shambles. Shut the fuck up. Oh, my camera battery is about to die. Most of the people in these homes are never going to be able to own their home ever, and you are out here owning 2,000 properties. And the thing is that obviously, and this is the thing that always gets me, like, you'd never be able to afford a house. Their rent costs much more than your mortgage does. That's why you're renting it out at the price that you are, because they're paying your mortgage and then some on top of that. So if they can afford to pay for your rent, they should be able to afford to buy the house. However, they're never going to have enough money for a deposit because you keep taking it from them every month. So they're never going to be able to save up to make that first deposit because you're taking so much from them. You own 2,000 properties. Shut the fuck up about how it's so difficult for you. You're saying that some of these people get cancer. They're getting car wrecks. I promise it's much harder for them. The lack of empathy is astounding. It's astounding.
People should buy less Costa coffees and go on less holidays and not go out for dinner so often, and then they'll be able to pay the electricity bill, which, you know, I said it tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but to be fair, that is probably partly true. I mean, the ones who are really struggling aren't doing any of those things, and I do accept that. But I mean, there's a lot of people out there who, in the old days, people would save money. Now it's very hard to save money. It's not fashionable to save money.
Yeah, because like buying Costa coffee every day, which is what, like £3.50 for 365 days a year. That's, I can't do maths. £3.50 times 365, that's £1,277 a year. That's definitely enough for a deposit on a house. Yeah, you're so right, man. If I just stop buying coffee every day, then maybe I'd be able to buy a house. That makes sense. Yeah, that's all I need. I realized that he said can't pay for electricity, can't get a deposit on the house. Oopsies, whatever, point still stands. I pay £150 a month for gas and electricity, which in total for the year is around £2,000. So I would still be short, even if I was like hypothetically buying coffee every day and I stopped and just used that money for electricity. I would still not have enough. I would be hundreds of pounds short still. Also, not that I do buy coffee every day, but even if I did, I think that I should be allowed to do that, you know? I need to get my dopamine wherever and however I can. Life is dull and bleak, and sometimes I need the dopamine from going and buying my silly little coffee, and I should be able to do that without worrying about paying for my electricity bill. There was like, saving money used to be what people did, and now it's just not fashionable because there's literally no point. Because saving money would mean saving everything that is left over from your needs. You pay your bills, you pay for your rent, you pay for your food, and then you've got very little left. And if you're saving that, then you're just living your life unable to do anything ever. So people are just like, fuck it, there's no point. I'm never going to be able to save enough to buy a house. And I'd rather not spend the next like 10 plus years of my life miserable and upset because I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna spend my money. There's no point, you know? That's why. It's so hopeless. And the like work week like kills people. Like it literally kills people. But also it just makes it so hard to be motivated and to want to work and to do anything. And you know, a lot of people will order takeaway and they'll like spend more money on things than maybe is necessary, but that's because like no one has the time or the energy to do things, you know? And I always justify getting delivery food on the fact that like, you know, we're so conditioned into being like time is money. It's like, it takes me a long time to cook. Firstly, groceries are so expensive. Every time I go to the grocery shop, I end up spending like £15 plus, and that's just to make 1 or 2 meals. And so like already ordering like pizza or like sushi or whatever, curry or whatever, that's already almost the same price as me buying ingredients. And then on top of that, I don't have to spend time doing anything for that, you know? Like a lot of people don't have the time to cook. Being able to cook is now a luxury that a lot of people do not have. People don't have time to cook. They're buying like grab and go, microwave meals, ordering food because there's no fucking time. And even if you have time to cook, you don't want to spend all of your free time cooking. You know? Like people spend money because what else are they gonna fucking do? Not buying Costa coffee every day isn't going to help anyone. It is such an out of touch thing to say and being like, I know the people who are really struggling don't do that anyway, but all these like shut the fuck up, bro. Shut up. People are allowed to enjoy things. This is the thing as well, is like people love to be like, poor people don't deserve things that they love. They should be more careful with their money. Poor people aren't allowed to have fun. Poor people aren't allowed to buy nice things for themselves. It's like, oh, you bought a new pair of shoes? Well, you can't be poor then. Are they not allowed to want new shoes? You know? Like, it's wild that, like, people who struggle aren't allowed to do anything they enjoy or buy anything that they want without being completely crucified by people. Because people are like, well, you shouldn't be able to afford that. Well, I think everyone should be able to afford that, actually. It's so ridiculous. This guy has put copyrighted music in the back of his video, which is annoying. So I'm just going to have to read off what he's saying. I just evicted my tenants and this is how they left my property. They ripped off my cabinets. They took out the sink. They demoed everything. Put everything in the living room. And look, I finally found where my kitchen sink is at and it's in a pile on the floor. They left all the junky furniture here. Now I have to get rid of this. They took a sledgehammer and look what they did to my bathroom, but they were kind enough to leave me the toilet so I can have some deep thoughts. And in case you were wondering what the second bathroom looked like, and it's completely demolished. It's just like rubble. They did leave this room a little bit better condition. They left some furniture here, but the floorboards are messed up. I guess I need a new AC because it was like on the floor. Do you think I should take the security deposit? Comment below. And the funniest thing about this property is that it was found that this was not his rental property that he evicted people from. He bought it like this. So yeah, he supposedly just bought the property looking like this and thought it would be a fun little TikTok to make. Like, unless they were evicted in the sense that like someone was living here and he bought it off of the previous landlords and then decided to up the rent so that the people that were living there at the moment like couldn't afford it anymore, and they went through and just fucked shit up, in which case, you know what, I respect it. I respect it. If you are evicting someone because you like put up the rent and they can't afford to pay it anymore, I respect going and fucking shit up. Like, you're taking away people's livelihood. You're making people homeless just for your own greed. This is the thing, is they're like, they've left my property in such a mess after I kicked them out of their home because they couldn't afford to pay me more money. Like, yeah, okay, fucking deserved then. I respect the hell out of it. Going through and just fucking shit up because your landlord is greedy, go for it. I say do it. What are they gonna fucking do, right? Like, everyone's like, you can sue them, and I don't know, maybe you can, but I think that it's valid. I don't know the situation, obviously, but I don't really think that matters too much, to be completely honest, especially if this person is another one of those people who own like 270 to 2,000 fucking properties. Like, you deserve to get shit fucked up. I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna leave this video here because I don't want to listen to any more landlords speak. I think I've had enough of it, so this is where I'm ending it today. Don't forget to email me at dearkiwi@gmail.com with any landlord property sort of stories that you have, because I would love to read them and we can have a rant about it together. So yeah, other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're new here, or if you're not new here and just have forgotten to hit subscribe, I would appreciate that greatly. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I appreciate you a lot, so thank you. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons: Harry, Bobby, Sparrow, Josh, Mandy, Ikazel, Jessica, Eldo, Danielle, Anoli Like Cannoli, Elias, Apollo, Taylor is Trying, Boston, Chris, Amelia, and Anu. I love and appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much for joining. If anyone else would like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/SavvyCat or click the top link in the description. It starts at as little as £1 a month. And for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, live streams, vlogs, music stuff, and more. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.